It's time to step behind the scenes and take a closer look at the Owen Sound Attack. This is Bear Tracker Weekly. Here's your host, JC Coots.
Well, hello and welcome to episode number 4 of the Bear Tracker Weekly podcast. Season number 2 is officially underway for the podcast, and a great season is underway for the Owen Sound Attack. Only one game to talk about this week. Really, the Attack's week of play is not done yet. They are going to be playing the second half of a home-and-home series with the North Bay Battalion on Thanksgiving Monday. But as tradition goes with this podcast, we like to release our episodes on Sunday. So we only have the Attack's 5-3 win over North Bay on Saturday night back at the Bayshore to talk about. And it's a pretty full episode this week, too, despite just one game. We've got 2 Attack players joining us, including Attack captain David Bedkowski. Haven't had a chance to catch up with him yet this season, but very excited to hear about what it's like to now be wearing the C for the Owen Sound Attack, and also what it was like to be drafted by the Buffalo Sabres this past summer. Speaking of players getting drafted, we'll also talk to Trenten Bennett, the goaltender for the Owen Sound Attack, who got the win, his 3rd win of the season on Saturday night. He was drafted by the New Jersey Devils, so we'll talk to him about that experience and what it's like now being a full-time member of the Attack and also being part of a 3-goalie tandem. I guess it's not really a tandem if there's 3, but there's 3 of them, that 3-headed monster in net. And we'll talk to Trenten about what he thinks of that situation. Head coach Scott Wray is going to be here. We'll get an update from him on how things are going so far this season from the coach's perspective. Plus, the Media Room Roundtable will get together. Myself, Matt, Mark, Greg, and Spencer, all at the Bayshore on Saturday night before the game, talking about what might happen, and also talking about some of the headlines around the OHL so far this season, some of the surprises, according to some of our media members. It's all here. A jam-packed episode number 4 starts now. First up this week is Attack captain David Bedkowski. David was a draft pick of the Buffalo Sabres over the summer, and of course he arrived in the Colby Barlow trade, part of a deal that also included Tristan DeLille, which seems to still be paying off for the Owen Sound Attack, and now as a result of that trade, they have themselves a pretty solid captain. Here's my conversation with David Bedkowski after the Attack's 5-3 win on Saturday night. All right, David Bedkowski, captain of the Owen Sound Attack. First of all, congratulations on the big win tonight against North Bay here at home. Attack keep on rolling through the start of the OHL season. Your first game back as well after sitting out one with suspension. First of all, it must have been nice to be back in the lineup, and also nice to see another successful result here at the Bayshore.
Certainly. I had a lingering injury this week, so was kind of undecided if I was going to play this game, but there was no way I was going to miss a home game. I love these guys so much, and these fans, and this rink just feels like home. And yeah, there was no way I was going to be able to line up. So to be back and be a part, and after watching them with an amazing effort against Windsor, taking it to a 7-0 team and beating them. So it was just amazing to be back and just build off that momentum that they created.
Yeah, that kind of attitude is part of the reason why a lot of us in the media last year, when we started talking about who might take the C next year, your name was the only one that came up. It seemed like you really kind of showed last year as a member of this team that you're a team guy, obviously. You're a good voice in the room. What did it mean to you when they did officially name you the captain this season?
Yeah, it meant a ton. It's not something I take for granted, being the captain of this team and, following in the footsteps of many great captains before me in Owen Sound. Certainly it's an honor, and it's not something that, like I said, take for granted. So just every day trying to continue to better myself and just stay true to myself, but, also improving in my habits and, doing everything I can for this team to win, and also just trying to do everything for the community. And, it starts with winning games and then just being involved. And, it's definitely an honor.
Of course, you're a defenseman with the Attack here, and you've seen a lot of change on the blue line from last season to this season. Some new faces on the blue line, including Jonathan Banks, who got his first OHL goal here tonight, now has 8 points in 8 games on the season. I think he's 5th in scoring for defensemen. What does it mean for you to see a guy like that come in, and what else are you seeing on the blue line this season in terms of change?
Yeah, he's a water bug out there. reminds me a lot of Lane Hudson on Montreal, and he actually trains with them in the summer and trains with his dad. So I mean, makes a lot of sense there, that connection, and he's helped us with our puck moving, and guys returning. Raji, all of our guys have taken big steps. And then you add Snow Roberts, brings that physicality aspect, and Mason Roy coming in, and Munnings, they've all looked really good. Myself this year, I was struggling for those first 6 games, so I think this is good for me, bounce back, and to have them start as well as they have, it's kind of sheltered me a bit, through that period, and now just trying to find my game again, and just, like I said, just help the team out in any way I can.
Lots of changes up front as well this year. Again, a lot of new faces coming in. Nick Sikora, who's had a lot of success already. We're seeing great performances by Cole Zaraski, who's back in his 2nd season now. Michael Deck's been playing unbelievably. With so many new players on this team, how have you guys been able to be successful so quickly? It seems like a lot of teams you need time to develop, and you guys came flying right out the gate in Game 1.
Yeah, just a full team buy-in. The energy around the rink is great. It's super easy and encouraging to, come to the rink every day and be surrounded by these guys and our staff and our coaches, and, to see those guys have success, it's encouraging, and, it's credit to our veteran leadership, helping them come in and make that transition, and, it feels great.
Over the summer, your name was called at the NHL draft. The Buffalo Sabres picked you, which must have been a really exciting moment in your life and your hockey career to this point. What was it like when you saw that you were drafted for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's just something you dream of as a kid growing up until this point, and everybody wants to be drafted. So to hear my name called was an honor. Just like being named captain, it's just another feather in the cap, and but really, just grateful. I'm blessed, and it's really just the start of a whole nother journey. Like, it's really just a step in the process, and it gets a whole lot harder from here on out.
You went to your first NHL training camp. What was it like for that experience? What did you learn? And did you have any of veterans that helped you out from the Sabres organization that gave you a few good pointers?
Yeah, it was an eye-opener, without a doubt. I think the staff have been great there. Working closely with Zach Redmond and the development staff there, and he's in contact with me pretty much every day, and just helping me through everything. Whether I'm playing bad, whether I'm doing something good, he's there, and so the staff have been great, helping me, and it was just a good experience for me to really realize like I'm not where I need to be yet, and really be clear with what I need to improve upon.
You're going to get North Bay again on Monday, making the trip up there, of course, on Thanksgiving Monday. What do you expect from this battalion team who you're going to face within 48 hours again?
Yeah, they're going to have a sour taste in their mouth. They're not going to like, the way we took it to them today. So we're going to have to be ready to have a good start again and, match their desperation and their anger. And I played a lot of games in that building, played a conference finals there. They took us to 7 games, and it's a lot of energy in that building, and they play hard. So we're just going to have to match that and some.
Well, Captain David, which has a nice ring to it, congratulations on everything so far, and best of luck on Monday in North Bay.
Thanks, JC.
Believe it or not, I think Trenten Bennett actually came back even taller than he was last season when we first saw him as a member of the Owen Sound Attack. He did spend most of last year with the Kemptville 73s, but this year is now a full-time member of the Owen Sound Attack and has a perfect 3-0 record and a 1.99 goals against average through those first 3 games. Here's my conversation with Trenten Bennett after his win on Saturday night. All right, Trenten Bennett, congratulations on the win tonight. 3rd win of the season, a perfect 3-0 record. What did you think of the game from the goaltender's crease tonight, looking out over everything that was going on?
Yeah, I thought we had a great start today. The guys came ready to play. And then just from the goaltending perspective, I thought I had a good first period. The second period got a little out of hand, got a little shaky, but we were able to get the win, so that's what really matters. And happy we could get it done and start the weekend off good.
You're in part of this three-headed goaltending monster in Owen Sound this year. I don't know, have you ever been into a situation where there's been three of you, first of all, that are all battling for time? And how do you handle that situation as a goaltender that obviously, I mean, if you could, I'm sure you'd play every game. But so how does it work? What's the dynamic between you and your other two goaltenders that you work with?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Carter, he's a great goalie, one of the best, probably 06 goalies in our age group. So to just, learn from him, and then for me and Kaprowski, it's all about learning and getting better. So for me, my goal is to just, when I step in the net, just give the team a chance to win and build that trust between me and my teammates. But no, I've never experienced something like this. It's new for me. And I think it's helping the team out a lot. It's giving that consistency in the net that is always helpful. So, yeah.
It's been a season of firsts for a lot of your teammates because there's a lot of new faces on the team this season. Jonathan Banks gets his first goal here tonight. What's it been like to see guys like Banks and a couple of weeks ago Sikora and all of these new players get to have that big moment? It must be pretty thrilling as a teammate to see them get to experience this.
Yeah, obviously when I see a guy like Sikora out on the power play, you have confidence that the boys are going to score. And other guy, Banksy, he's so skilled back there. He's such a quick guy. I mean, when you have guys like that, the offense is going to be there, and he can really trust your teammates, and it makes it easy for me back here in the net. I'm going to see some easier shots when I have those quality players in front of me.
I want to take you back to the summer. I think that was Sikora in the background there. I want to take you back to the summer and the excitement that you must have felt when you found out that you were drafted by the New Jersey Devils. You're going to get to play in the NHL possibly someday. What was that moment like for you and your family to become an NHL draft pick?
Oh my gosh, like there was no words to describe the feeling. It was truly surreal, and I'm truly blessed to be with the New Jersey Devils and very thankful to be a part of them. And they've helped me so much already. Manny Legacy, Anders Nielsen, all of them have been a great help, and it's a great place. So nothing but good things to say. I'm truly humbled that I get to be an NHL draft pick, and looking forward to the future with them for sure.
I was going to ask you about training camp, and already you just mentioned a couple of pretty big names in the goaltending world there that you're working with. What was that first experience at training camp? Was it? It must have been totally new to go into something like that.
Yeah, no, it was. I mean, last year I played Junior A, right? So to make the jump to, NHL, AHL level guys, it was a lot for sure. Like, it's a lot faster, but I think for me to understand where my game needs to get, it was really helpful in that way, and to see the pace they play at, how professional they are day in, day out. So for me, just being able to soak that in, it was huge for me. And it was a big learning lesson.
It's Thanksgiving weekend. You've got your family here. I saw you talking to them a few moments ago. What does it mean to have them here? And do you guys have any big plans for Thanksgiving? Any traditions that the family normally does?
Yeah, so we have a cottage in Grand Bend that most of our family is at. Obviously, I won't be there because we're going to be out in North Bay, but that's where I would be had I had the time. But nothing too special. My family is almost at every game, so I get to see them a lot. So, yeah.
All right, well, I don't say this often, but my arm is getting tired from holding up the microphone, so I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let you enjoy the third win of the season, and best of luck to you and your teammates up in North Bay on Monday.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Well, Saturday night was one of those games where everything seemed to click right for the Owen Sound Attack. It was an all-around great effort by all four lines, all three defensive pairings, and, of course, by the goaltender. Here's the coach, Scott Wray, talking about Saturday night's game at the Bayshore. All right, Coach Scott Wray, hard-fought effort tonight against a team that you're very familiar with, the North Bay Battalion. Congratulations on the win. It seemed like a lot of the different elements of the Attack's game tonight went really, really well. What was the impression of the coaching staff on tonight's win?
Well, I thought we had a really good start tonight. I thought we started on time. We were outstanding in the first period, and then they found their legs and they were pushing, and they got that goal by precision, and we got a little bit on our heels. And but that's hockey. It's junior hockey, and I thought we bent, we didn't break, and we played a solid 60 minutes. They don't have the shot clock up there, but I think we put 42, 43 on them and kept them under 30, and that's an ideal night for their coach.
Let's start with Jonathan Banks. First OHL goal here tonight. You had to know it was coming at some point, especially with 7 points in 7 games going into the game tonight. He really seems to be one of the big guys on that blue line that are having amazing seasons. There's been a lot of great production from the back end.
Yeah, it's early, and he's having a really good start, and he's really understanding the league. And some nights he looks like the magic man back there. He's very shifty. He's got great feet and a great high hockey IQ.
I'll ask you about Trenten Bennett, his 3rd game tonight, and he now has 3 wins, perfect record so far this season. Of course, it's never an easy decision when you're trying to figure out which one of those 3 great goalies to start, but let's talk about Bennett, and what have you seen from him in his 3 games so far this season?
He's been solid. He just came to me while I was coming out here, and he says, I owe you 2 from tonight. And you know what? That's what you love to hear. He's going to work. He's like, I'm going to work on it this week, and he's really elevated his game, and he's very square and solid. And there was a save in the second late, probably about 12 minutes into the period, where I was like, all right, he's got his feet under him again. He's fine. And I knew he would shut the game down.
This team has, as we've seen in the last couple of weeks with some illness and some injuries, a lot of great depth. It would have been maybe a bit of a different game with Jacob Terrien in tonight, but most of the other guys are now back. And what do you think about the depth on this team, where even if you lose a key player like a Cole Zarowski, it seems like everybody steps up?
Yeah, well, Dale's done a great job of bringing guys in, and we've talked all summer, and he's really done a really good job of, 1 through 13, 14, and it's been really manageable as a coach, and I think he's done a great job of giving us the players to put in the situations to succeed.
You get these guys again on Monday, a fairly quick turnaround to head up to North Bay. What are you expecting from the team on Monday?
Well, from our team?
From North Bay, I should say. What are you expecting from them?
Well, they're really good at home. It's a tough building to play in. It's different environment. Even coming out of your tunnel, you're going through the crowd. It's unique. And for us, we had an exhibition game there. We won that game, and Carter will be playing there. And I think the guys play a couple inches taller when he's playing. And if we start like we did today, I don't think we have much to worry about. But they are a good team. They have a lot of offense. They're young. They're fast. They're skilled, and it's one of those things where we have to be ready to go. If we think it's going to be an easy day, they're going to pump us.
There's been some movement in the lineup, partially due to injuries, obviously, but also partially I think some guys maybe are playing a bit better, so they have earned time, like, for example, Nick Sikora on the top line tonight. But the one line that seems like you go to consistently, they might stay together for quite some time, is that Jake Crawford, Harry Nancy, Mason Wray line. They were great again tonight. Yeah,
they're big, they're strong, they're hard to defend below the dots. They're all 6'3", 6'4", and they're physical. And you know what? The straw that stirs the drink is Jake Crawford. He's like an Energizer bunny out there, and he's on pucks. He's always reloading above their outs, and the other two have been fantastic too. Like it takes 3 to tango, and they've done a really good job of being consistent.
I don't blame you if you won't tell me, but do you know who you might be looking at on Monday up in North Bay to start in goal for the Attack?
Carter George.
Perfect. All right. Well, Coach, best of luck to you and the boys. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family and the entire team, and best of luck on Monday.
You as well. Thank you very much.
Well, once again, we put together the Media Room Roundtable, although we were in a bit of a different location at the Bayshore. I think there was a golf show on this past weekend at the Bayshore, but that's okay. Still great to get together with Mark, Matt, Greg, and Spencer to talk about the Owen Sound Attack and to take a look at what else is going on around the OHL. Here's the Media Room Roundtable from before the win on Saturday night at the Bayshore. All right, Media Room Roundtable. Here we go. Thanksgiving long weekend. We've only got the one home game this weekend against the team with the best jerseys in the league, according to Greg Cowan, the North Bay Battalion. Guys, let's start with, I guess we'll start with where the Attack are at right now. An interesting weekend last night where it started out slow, but then all of a sudden you hand Windsor their first loss of the season, so it ends on a high note. What was your assessment of that game against Windsor and how the Attack came out?
I'm very impressed by how they came out to start that game, considering it was a 3-3, but you dropped those first two games, and you could have seen this team maybe being a little bit fragile in the sense of now you're going up against the top team in the league. They're undefeated. You're trying to salvage the weekend by getting anything you can find away. I think if they'd gone into that game and somehow scratched and clawed and got to overtime or a shootout and lost, you would have said, well, good job. Found a way to at least get something on the weekend. But they came out obviously disappointed with how the first two games had gone and very motivated. So I thought they got a little tired in the third, as you'd expect in a 3-3. But when you've got Carter George back there who didn't have to do a whole lot in the first 40 minutes, they were set. So great for that team to find a way, because it could have been quite the roller coaster ride to start this year if you get swept in that 3-game series after, or that 3-game set after starting 4-0.
Yeah, I agree. So far, so good. You can't complain. You're 5-2, and you just beat what most consider to be the top team in the OHL in the early going in the Windsor Spitfires. And I can't say much other than echo what Mark said.
Yeah.
It was a good, solid effort. They held off the push by Windsor, which you knew was coming. So we'll see what this weekend brings. Get home and home with the North Bay Battalion, and always a tough place to play in North Bay for the Attack, as Greg Cowan knows well.
Before you guys chime in for a second, because you guys were watching the game in a different spot than Matt and I are calling the game, but it felt to me in the third period like Liam Greentree just became a man on a mission. Like he basically took over. Yeah, I know. Maybe before, but that third, I can still think of one shift where he drove the puck into the Attack zone and basically dragged 3 Attack players on his back. It just felt like he was really trying to make a point of, if I've got to be the guy, I can just take over. And that's maybe the one thing Owen Sound, if you want to talk about teams in the upper echelon, most teams have that guy who every night is the best player on the ice who can take over. And man, oh man, Windsor's got quite the monster there.
Yeah, and that reminded me too of when Greg Walters was coaching at Owen Sound and they were down in a game, and you just knew that top line was coming out again and again and again, and he would put it on their chest, hey, go get us a goal. And it looked like he was close it a few times, but how big was that? Those empty net goals. Like Carter tried to get a couple himself. And then, those were big to kind of keep the Windsor off the scoreboard at the end there.
Well, Mark, to your point, when you talk about the performance, I think if you flip the score, I think that's probably what we expected, right? Windsor come out hot, go up to a 4-1 lead. Owen Sound come back and make it close at 4-3, and then a couple empty netters make the score a little more lopsided than maybe the game did entail, especially in that third period for Windsor. But Owen Sound has the hot start. They look great. They're, I'll say, surprisingly the best team on the ice for 40 minutes. And then in the third, as you mentioned, the legs got a little tired. They maybe got a little bit, I'll say, complacent, or felt like maybe, they could maybe take their foot off the gas a little bit. And against that Windsor team who's top 2 right now in the CHL rankings, you can't do that. You can't take your foot off the gas for even a second, or Liam Greentree will make you pay, which he did, and was one of the best players in the OHL that night. And I think he's showing why he was the Red Tilson favorite, why he is the MVP favorite in the OHL, and why he'll be a really, really good NHL player when that time comes.
I think one of the most interesting aspects of the three-headed monster goaltending situation is probably Trenten Bennett. We didn't get to see him last week because he was sick. We'll get to see him tonight as we record this before the home game against North Bay. He's got some pretty good numbers. Mind you, only 2 starts this season, but man, is he making the decision on a nightly basis a tough one for this coaching staff.
I don't know who wants to take this first, because every week I'm like, well, how do we sum up this three-headed monster? I mean, you've got the best goalie, and then you got 2 guys who are very capable goaltenders in the OHL. And to your point, it's a tough decision, but I don't even know what the decision is right now. Are you willing to ride this out for as long as you can, knowing Carter's going to go away for a month? Kind of feels that's maybe where we're heading now as we get later into October.
Matt, I'll ask you specifically, because you've seen every game. Do you notice any change in the way the team plays in front of any of the 3 goaltenders, or are they kind of consistent?
I certainly don't notice any of that, no. And in terms of like how the situation will unfold, well, I've said the same thing, my opinion. I don't think it's getting resolved to the new year, and I don't think the early returns of the season have changed that. I think that, Carter George is the the 1-1. He's the starting netminder, and he is afforded the opportunity to get more rest than he maybe would have in this situation. Carter's going to play a lot of hockey this season. He's going off to the World Juniors. I think that maybe last year, I don't want to say it wore him down, but it was certainly a lot of hockey that he played through the last season. So the Attack have the luxury of letting him breathe, and I think that's what it's going to be. Essentially, Carter will probably get 2 out of every 3 starts, and then the other 2, we'll call it, Trenten and Matthew, will get their turns on that 3rd start. It happens to be Trenten up today. He was sick last weekend, as you said, so didn't get to factor in that 3-3, and I fully expect that on Monday, on Thanksgiving, it'll be Carter George in between the pipes.
Well, I think another interesting point that Mark kind of mentioned when you look at the 3 goalies, or you mentioned, JC, with Trenten Bennett, was he was maybe the odd man out coming into the season, obviously, right? He comes from, I think, the CCHL. He didn't get a lot of look last year. We didn't know what exactly he looked like in the preseason. I wouldn't say he was spectacular, especially when I went to the preseason game in Brampton. He didn't look great. But, again, that's preseason. Those games don't matter in the grand scheme of things, and he's really locked in this regular season. It's looked really good. So, again, you mentioned the problem that he's giving the coaching staff when a goalie looks really good, and you have Carter George, who you know is really good and will represent Canada to the World Juniors most likely. I'll say most likely just because, I don't like to guarantee anything, but I think we all know he's going to go. And Matt Kaprowski, who was really good last year when Carter George was gone. So there's a lot of variables this coaching staff has to really navigate, and if the goalies are playing really, really well, that makes the conundrum even more interesting for us to speculate.
Yeah, I just want to point out Allison Davies has a blog, BeyondTheBench.ca, where she interviewed Carter recently, where he reaffirmed his position. I want to stay in Owen Sound first and foremost, but I want to win a championship. So right now it looks like he might be able to do that in Owen Sound. I'm sure if that changes, think like what's Gray going to do? Carter might have a say in this too. He's that type of player. Nick Suzuki had a say in it. Those guys, they went to go win a championship in Guelph and became Guelph Storm legends. So people at Owen Sound love when I say that. But there's history there. So that's why I agree with Matt. I think examine how this looks during the trade deadline. I'm sure they'll make a decision in the best interest of everyone.
Okay, this is off topic now because you opened this up, though. When the NHL season started this past week, as always, the OHL puts out a list of all their graduates who are on opening night rosters. And for the longest time, they would always just associate the player, the alumni, with the last team they played for in the OHL. So you would see, for example, Cody Ceci, who played 90% of his OHL career with the Ottawa 67, they would say Owen Sound Attack. And, of course, Attack fans hated it because it would say Nick Suzuki, Sean Dursey, Guelph Storm. I want to give them props. It was a few extra characters they had to type, but they put every team a player played for this year, and now nobody can complain.
Well, a complaint is loud.
Why? Hey, I just think.
What are the facts, Greg, though?
Yeah.
In terms of alumni, why don't you set the record straight?
What's the criteria for where if it's like going into the Baseball Hall of Fame?
I was just giving them a chance for another jab to be thrown, but
oh no, my head went to the everything in what happened changes in the OHL these days. My head goes to how does this impact the NCAA? are they doing this because?
I didn't think of that actually, and maybe that's how we.
I don't think I can connect those two dots, but I was thinking maybe they want to see how few times players move compared to a transfer porter, but I don't know. It doesn't make
Or you
cake.
can play anywhere in this league and make it to the next level.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know. You can, just for the record.
Sarnia, not no.
Whoa! There's the controversial topic.
Stephen Stamkos is pretty decent, I heard.
Yeah.
Jordan Kyrou.
Yeah,
it's true.
Among
There's
others.
been a few.
Come on.
Yakupov is a good point.
That
John
rhyme.
Banks, very quietly, has 7 points in 7 games. He does not have his first OHL goal as of yet, although I say as of yet because it could happen tonight, the way that he's been playing. But when you compare him to, say, David Bedkowski, who is yet to register his first point, what's been going so well for Banks? And why is Bedkowski just accepting more of a stay-at-home role, or what's going on?
I'll just put my hand up. I just think they're very different players, and you shouldn't measure the David Bedkowski's success on the ice by his point production. That's not his role on the Attack. He's going to play big minutes, so he'll be in a position to produce as the season goes along. But his role is to be a big bruising blue liner and help lead the team and shut down minutes and ensure that the puck stays out of his net. John Banks is an offensive defenseman through and through, a great skater, a skilled guy who can move the puck forward and can generate offense. He is a forward who plays the blue line in a sense. So they're very different players. John Banks has looked great in terms of what he's brought to the attack and the attack power play. He's quick along the blue line. He seems to have good vision in the offensive zone and able to get the puck through lanes. Maybe not a lot of pace on his shot, but he's able to find those lanes and get the puck to the net and to high danger scoring areas.
I still think David Bedkowski's just trying to find exactly what his game's going to be as well. Sometimes you watch him out there and you think he's maybe trying to do a little too much, and I think that just comes with him being such a gamer and being so competitive, and now wearing the C, he just wants to probably lead by example to the best of his abilities. And I think as the season goes along, and he had to watch a game the other day from the sidelines due to suspension, I think he's just gonna figure it out. I mean, he's too talented for it not to, and maybe he'll start to pick up some points as we go along. But I think it's a bit of a weight off his shoulders that there is somebody like a John Banks who has come in, because David would have seen what the attack D was like last year and thought, okay, I'd like to chip in now with some offense. I want to be able to help with that game, but that's not going to have to be his role. And the one other thing about David Bedkowski I want to keep in mind is I still go back to Matt. You may remember this when we were in Sarnia last year and he was still injured when he'd come over in the trade from Oshawa. And he was sitting, I think, kind of to our left or just down in front of us in the press box. And this guy, with every shift and every play happening in the game, is just kind of getting closer to the edge of his seat. Fists are kind of clenched. Like he just gets so into it. And watching that passion, just so eye-opening for me to see the kind of character he is, and no surprise that he is the C. So I think as the season goes along, later in the year, we're going to be talking about just how vital he is for this hockey club.
I think at this point we're a few weeks in, so we pretty much have a pretty good idea of what these teams are at this point, I would say. Most of them have their NHL guys back. Only a handful don't and still might not come back. Mm-hmm. But it seems like the Ottawa 67s might be the real deal. Is that one of the biggest surprises in your view?
What do you guys think? I'm not a believer yet.
I'm not going to pass judgment. I'm really not going to pass real judgment on any team. The first season I did on play-by-play for the radio was the 2022-23 OHL season. You might remember that on December 1st of that season, the Attack were 14-8-1 and in first place in the Midwest Division. So what I learned there is that, things really don't start until December, Christmas, the New Year. It's so hard to tell, and I'm not it's a great start by Ottawa. You want to be winning games rather than losing, but let's wait and see how things play out over the next couple of months, not just for the 67s, but teams with slower starts. The London Knights maybe they're gonna catch on at some point, right? So fast start, slow start, it's good when you're getting out of the gate well, and not great when you're struggling early, but things take time for really getting a feel for what teams are going for it this year, and then once the additions start to happen is when you really get a sense of who's loaded up for a run in the new year.
Player to keep an eye out for, though, if you're not really paying attention to the Eastern Conference right now with the Ottawa 67s, is Thomas Vandenberg. He's a forward who's got 5 goals in 6 games, played last year in the USHL, and was actually drafted in the most recent priority selection by the 67s, I think in the 5th round, and it wasn't his draft year. He's in 08, so he was a player that I think a lot of teams maybe were sleeping on a bit in the 67s from what I heard. There was a few people pushing, saying this guy's the real deal, and some teams maybe were a little skeptical. Ottawa took that chance on him in the 5th round and quickly getting rewarded with this guy.
Any other surprises, Greg or Spencer, that you've seen in the OHL to start the season?
I've been surprised with how effective some of these 16-year-olds that have come up early have been. I'm going to blank on all their names, but guy in Niagara that did 10th overall. Edgar. Is Edgar the last name? Yeah, he's been really good. He's played on their top line. There's been a few.
Chitteroni in Ottawa is doing very well as well for a first rounder.
Jaco Wysek and Guelph, I think, has 4 goals now. Even down.
Max DeLille coming off a 2-point game against Windsor last
I was going to say Max DeLille doesn't look at a place. Blake Munnings, there's just been, and I don't know if that's something because the league's getting younger or because it's just the cream of the crop and they're playing more minutes, and the other 16-year-olds are going down to this new relationship with the GO, not JHL. Catch that?
The GO.
But I've been impressed. Yeah, I've been impressed by that, and more so on the USL guys. Like we saw Saginaw here with 2 of them, so that's interesting. Sikora and Banks was BCHL, but those guys are looking around the league and seeing these names pop up that are having success that you didn't know where they came from. You're like, oh, they played in the USHL last year or the BCHL. So that's all the NCAA rule and those guys coming to the league. So I don't know if that's been surprising, but it's been interesting to see that unfold, and it will be interesting to see it unfold as the year goes on.
I kind of hold the Matt Hermes philosophy of I'm going to wait and see on a lot of teams, because I feel like right now we're at the point where everyone can beat everyone. And obviously there are teams that are going to slowly pull themselves ahead, if that's Brantford, if that's Windsor. Right now Owen Sound obviously a little bit ahead, but obviously things can so change, right? Like we talked about, if they would have lost against Windsor, now they're 4-3, and that opening 4-game streak now really doesn't look as good, even though they lost a good competition. So I'm going to kind of leave it up to, I want to see these teams after a month, after 2 months, and see what the coaches decide to do, how many guys decide to stay, if new guys decide to come in on anybody's team, and it's just going to be a lot of teams figuring out who they are and what guys are and what lines work. Like Owen Sound obviously has gone through a lot of different lineups, a lot of different guys from injuries, from suspensions, whatever. The second line's the only line that's really stayed the same between Crawford, Nancy, and
Wray.
And Wray, which has been their best line in my opinion. So, a lot of teams are going to be chopping and changing, and we'll see after 2 months who's made the best decisions at that point.
All right. Well, gentlemen, I know Matt's got a pregame show to do. We've got game notes to tape. Greg's got to get the film in his camera. So.
He's got a pregame show to do, too.
Oh, sorry. They both are doing the pregame show. I forgot. That's the newest thing on CFOS.
What are you getting paid for this gig?
A lot. This radio business is lucrative. I made a huge mistake back in college.
Thank you all, and happy Thanksgiving to all of you. I hope you enjoy your family time, whether it's tomorrow on Sunday or on Monday. You've got Blue Jay games both days to watch, except for Spencer. But you can watch highlights from Cancun. So thank you again.
I'll watch football. I'll watch the actual popular sport.
Right. Thank you, everybody. That's going to do it for the Media Room Roundtable this week.
Well, there you have it. Another episode comes to an end of the Bear Tracker Weekly Podcast. We should have a busy episode next week, as it's a busy week for the Owen Sound Attack. As mentioned off the top of the show, the Attack will head to North Bay on Thanksgiving Monday to take on the Battalion for the second half of that home-and-home. These two teams only meet twice a season, so they're getting it out of the way early again this year. And then the Attack will be hosting the Barrie Colts on Wednesday night. It's the official kickoff of Rivalry Week in the OHL this week. So looking forward to Barrie coming to town on Wednesday night. The Attack will then head to Guelph on Friday night for a date with the Storm, their first game in Guelph. And then they'll welcome the Storm right back to the Bayshore Saturday night for a home-and-home. So very exciting with Rivalry Week kicking off in the OHL. For both those home games, Wednesday and Saturday, as always, of course, you can get your tickets at attackhockey.com. Thank you so much for tuning in to the podcast this week. Make sure you like and subscribe wherever you listen to the Attack podcast. And if you watch the video version on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe to that as well. And a big thank you to Rogers TV in Owen Sound for once again carrying the Bear Tracker Weekly podcast on television. We really appreciate it. Appreciate all of our guests and their time this week. To you, the listeners, a big thank you for spending time with us, and a happy Thanksgiving to you and your families. I'm sure you're probably playing this while you're eating your turkey dinner, or maybe you're watching the Blue Jays play ALCS games. They're on this weekend too. It's a busy sports weekend, and we have a little afternoon Attack hockey on Monday to look forward to. Have a great week. We'll see you at the rink. Cheers.
The Bear Tracker podcast is produced in association with Blackburn Media from the CKNX studios in Wingham, Ontario. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe at Bear Tracker Pod on social media and wherever you get your podcasts.